Hallo, hallo, ihr könnt schon langsam mal so reinkommen. Ihr könnt schon mal so ein bisschen euch Stühle hinstellen etc. So. Und euch schon ein bisschen, vorne gibt es Klappstühle, die man sich nehmen kann. Ich glaube, wir können ein bisschen lauter mal kurz machen. Vorne gibt es Klappstühle, die man sich nehmen kann. Und da könnt ihr euch hier einfach mal aufreihen. Ihr könnt aber noch ein bisschen weiter nach vorne kommen hier. Das passt dann in der Regel immer ganz gut. Vielleicht Silke, genau. So. Ach so, warte mal. Tschüss. So, hello. And Elastique, of course, we kind of did this complete thing together, is talking about her research project. And yeah, just hand over and have fun, enjoy. Note down your questions, because it would be nice if we have a lively conversation afterwards. We have time. The second talk by Eno, the flight crew was cancelled. He's about to arrive here so that we can do the talk a bit later. It will be about 8:15. So after the first talk, we will have kind of half an hour, 40 minutes, and then can start with Eno and his team.
Nice, because then we can also, if you want, you can also try the prototype over there.
But you can do that the whole evening too. So.
Yes, as well. But if you're bored or something. So, welcome everybody. It's good to have you here. And I'm happy to share some outcome of my research project. So, to those of you who don't know, every 8th semester as a professor, we are allowed to hand in a special topic, a research question kind of, and work on that for a couple of months, which is great, and which I did. Firstly on my own, and then with the team at Elastique. So I will start with the process and the overall exhibition concept, which is called Empty Shells. And after that, I will hand over to the Anomaly team, which will then present the prototype. So, as someone who has been around the digital for quite a while, I was really always looking for something that makes me feel. Because I think this digital space is very slick, very clean. And I was always looking for friction, tactile feedback, emotions, well, some kind of unpredictability, sort of. And as I think that the purely digital cannot replace reality, I always like to add kind of some analog parts into my work and expand and interpret them digitally and vice versa. So, well, it was quite clear to me that I wanted to do something in these extended realities, something with AR. I was always saying, if someone asked me, as I have been into that in my work at Elastique and at university, and as this is kind of a cooperation between both parties, I thought that might be a current topic that's interesting for both of them to learn and to experiment with. Well, and we are already in it. As you might know, this is supposed to be the year of, well, extended reality with some major players being released, as the MetaQuest 3 last year and just about to come in Germany on July the 12th, the Apple Vision Pro, but we have it here already today. So, I started my journey in October last year, focusing on real interlocking of analog and digital on digital life forms and very strong visuals, as I'm really interested in that. I did a lot of research with MetaHuman creator and looking at textures that are between the analog and the digital. And it was just when Luma, AI, and nerves became popular, and I found results and possibilities quite interesting. So this is a scan Andreas did of me in the Fußgängerzone in Andernach. And I thought, well, that's pretty fascinating, standing face to face in front of your digital incarnation, kind of. And so I took myself, my digital alter ego, I took it home into the kitchen, to the breakfast table, and, well, did some tests with it and thought, well, that's what I want to do. That's really interesting. And then I had to think of a work from performance artist Marina Abramovic, which you might know. It's called The Artist is Present. In 2010, she was in the MoMA and she exhibited herself kind of over a period of 2.5 months, 8 hours a day. And she sat on this little table and people could like sit opposite her and get into a kind of quiet dialogue with her. And I think it's a work that's very reduced, very much to the point, and yet very, very emotionally involving, as you can see by the reactions of the people. And I thought, well, what would it look like to transfer that into the digital space? Would that even work? And so that was my first sketch on that. I had a setting kind of like someone sitting on this little table with a headset or either a screen to make it possible to get into dialogue with oneself. And this video came out from Lex Friedman and Mark Zuckerberg meeting in the metaverse, and I thought, well, that's quite cool. That's what I need. But the setup was quite complex, and I also reflected on my concept again, and I couldn't just find a good solution for what would really happen while sitting in front of your digital self. I thought about adding maybe some AI. I thought about recording own reactions and transferring that with a delay onto the avatar, stuff like that. But I didn't really find a satisfying solution, a kind of twist or some connecting and interacting part while talking or being with your avatar. And I thought, well, why is that? And I thought there's just nothing in it. It's just empty. Which has brought me to this conclusion. The own digital avatar is an inanimate empty shell, and it cannot communicate independently and only comes to life through what we project into it. And at this part, I would say, dear Paul, you might not be right here. And so let's have a look at the empty shells exhibition concept, which came out of that. So it's supposed to be an XR exhibition about yourself and your possible virtual entities. At this very moment, it's consisting out of 9 installations. And the visitor is supposed to be staged as the protagonist of the exhibition. So the visitor is being part of the exhibition and confronted with their virtual incarnation and questions that come with it. And by that, the visitor is kind of the interface or at the intersection between analog and digital. What was really important to me as well was that I have different kind of approaches. Some are playful, some are critical, some are more the poetic ones, and I will introduce some of them now before we have a look at the one we realized with Elastique. So the first installation of the exhibition would be me, the audience. It's quite simple but effective, I think, and it deals with the question, how does it feel to be looked at by a multitude of myself? So you just imagine yourself sitting, standing in front of this very long white room with a headset, and on the sides there are people sitting dressed in black, and they are not looking at you. And as soon as you kind of walk onto the catwalk, they will turn their faces and they will look at you, or you will look into a multitude of your own face. So how would that feel? So I think this picture gives a good impression on that. And the idea of the next approach came to me while co-supervising a bachelor thesis of a student. Questions came up like, how can the haptic and the emotional aspects of skin be transferred to the virtual world? And Gabriel translated different skin conditions and phenomena into digital textures and visuals, which I think are very, very beautiful. You can see some of them here. So this installation is a further development of his approach and would certainly be a cooperation if he's interested. So we would have kind of two visitors sitting opposite each other and with a paired headset, and as soon as they would like touch each other's skin, you would see an augmented layer with various visual interpretations of digital skin, which could vary, well, by duration of the touch or, well, the location, maybe some more nerve cells there than anywhere else. And it would also be supplemented by sound. And this might even be triggering some sensual, like phantom haptics or something like that, what we don't know yet, that could appear and could add to the experience. So another interesting thought, I think, is whether we kind of leave something behind when we exit a room, something like a digital legacy with all the connections and intersections we have to the digital world. And my first thoughts on this were quite fragile, ephemeral, sort of like digital sculptures in space. Yeah, and you have all kind of different traces that can be spoken words, conversations, movements, or other data-based measurable values. So some first visual ideas on this one, which was very fragile at the beginning, and in further visual explorations, I decided to focus on the voice, on conversations. So at this stage, you can see different visual approaches of someone walking through his own sound wave, through his own words, that kind of remain in the room even once you left. They might dissolve or fade away. On the top, you can see a sound wave from someone who has disappeared a while ago, sort of. And what I think is very interesting in this is also the aspect of the audio layer. So what will it sound like to walk through your own sound wave, maybe played in reverse, or even walk through fragments from another dialogue or something like that. So this is the actual status quo, and we're also thinking about some Houdini tests for visualizing real audio files. So one of my favorites would be at the end of the exhibition, and I really like the thought on having kind of an archive where visitors of the exhibition remain as a digital copy of themselves. So it would be a little bit like a kindergarten or something where you can drop off your digital alter ego and leave it there, and you could come and visit it again you see on the right-hand side, you see kind of an interface where you can type in your name, and then you will be able to, well, get in touch with you again. Maybe something has changed, maybe something has evolved. And well, in this, behind these doors, there would be maybe oversized avatars, torsos half stuck in the floor, or reoccurring copies of the same body. And it would be all of a sort of a symbol of digital errors and glitches, so of this digital world. So there's quite some more, but we will not get into that. It's about digital patina, or maybe praying to yourself in an endless prayer situation. And with this, I would like to hand over to the Anomaly team. This is the prototype we realized with Elastique, with the junior team, and it's been quite a lot, or quite some intense month working together. So you can come over.
Hello, everybody. My name is Àrmin Ludl. Thanks for coming. I'm part of the Anomaly team, and this is basically, as Betty mentioned, one of the installations that we actually realized, which you will be able to try out later if you want to. We will be happy to assist you. So, as Betty mentioned, digital human replicas, so something we call avatars, usually are an empty shell. They're lifeless, and they only become really human through what you project into them, what you put into them, data or pictures, everything that's yours, basically. So the initial research question for this was really, at what point does an avatar become human, and what do you need to put into it or project into it so it comes to life? And to translate this, to basically answer this question, this research question, we decided to translate this into a spatial mixed reality experience, which everybody then basically can try to answer this research question for themselves, how it feels like. The whole installation takes place in an all-white, basically museum setup, an exhibition context that would be open to the public. So sort of like today, but a bit more fancy. Yes, so basically this is the first sketch that Betty did on this project. Here you can see everything that will be in the installation later. So basically you see a user, you see their VR glasses on their head, you see the avatar, and then the physical setup is basically a table with bowls on them, and the bowls contain digital objects. And this is everything. And the idea is basically you pick the digital objects, you put them onto your avatar, and then you see how it comes to life. If it comes to life, you decide for yourself. The visual language of the whole installation should be very playful and colorful. This is the first mood board that Betty did. And since it's a mixed reality installation, for us it was very important to really interlock both the analog and the digital, so it's very seamless. And to further explain this, this is the setup in a more progressed way, fancy rendering here, where you also can see the setup. And to explain this, we have basically the physical setup, some terminology here, then the digital setup that we have, and the place that this overlaps we call extended reality. And this is sort of an umbrella term for everything related to augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. Whereas AR is usually just a layer you have on top on your phone, for instance. VR is purely digital. And mixed reality, the one that we have over there in the lab, is basically combining these two. And these are the glasses that we use, the MetaQuest 3 from MetaQuest 3 from Meta, surprise. Going through our physical setup is the final bowls that we choose and collected on the table that will be later filled with digital objects that we also created together in the team. And then this is our first test, sort of trying to really interlock digital and physical. So on the left, you see basically a digital bowl that is like floating in the air and some digital objects in there. And the next step was basically having that digital bowl being mapped over a physical one and then dropping this digital object into it. So this is where it all sort of comes together. Just need to drink something, sorry. You're also quiet. As you have seen, the testing look was a bit rough. This was definitely a topic that we wanted to challenge. So because mixed reality experiences usually, from what we've seen in our research online, they're usually a bit more hyped for their playful and interactive features and not for their looks or their aesthetics. So this is something that we wanted to take on, this challenge, with the assets that we created and the overall look. And for us, it was very important to create a mixed reality experience that's not only playful and interactive, but also very visually appealing in both the physical and the digital setup, basically. This is some first visual testing that we did with the objects in Cinema 4D, where we created them and put them on the avatar. These are some more assets that we did. They have like a they're sort of humanoid objects, so they resemble mouths or eyes. They are sometimes more real, more surreal, so it's like a range of abstraction that we really tried to create there with a very aesthetic look. So then the tricky part was basically getting this aesthetic into the glasses. This we sort of did with Unity, this game engine that we used. And this was felt sort of like ordering something online, which looked really neat and nice, like on the left, and then you get it actually, and it looks like crap. So we really had to optimize there a lot, because yeah, at first on the very right, you see it doesn't look that nice. And this is sort of due to limitations of the glasses. So we were also quite surprised that the MetaQuest 3 only has like a processor of a current Android phone. So this is limitations that you really have to take in count. And this you can sort of really see when you look at the avatars that we created first in Cinema, with lots of detail and everything, nice lighting. And once you really put them in Unity, in the glasses, in mixed reality, look a bit different. Just a bit less detail, but yeah, so we had to optimize a lot and shrink everything down from the data. We had to have less polygons, less complex forms, and going back to the assets also, this digital still life that we really carefully created, which was the vision of how it should look like. And then also sort of comparing this to how it actually looks in the glasses. You obviously see a difference there, but what you also see is that some assets are animated. You can make them also bigger or smaller, so you can scale them, and the interaction is actually super satisfying. So we had lots and lots of afternoons where we were just like playing with them. You can really flick them around, and it's really nice. You obviously touch nothing there, so from outside you look a bit crazy, but the interaction is really, really satisfying. And there's actually sort of like a haptic sensation that happens, even though you really touch nothing. But this is something that Casper will tell you more about with some more interactive features that we also created. So, Casper, thanks a lot.
Yeah, hello. Thank you, Àrmin, and Betty. My name is Casper. I'm junior creative coder here at Elastique, and I would also like to tell you a little bit about my experience creating this prototype that we did, and my thoughts and insights within this process. To make the experience more tangible, we used audio, color, and animation for creating feedbacks when interacting with the virtual environment. This was done to enhance the feeling of immersion, making the objects feel way more real, like you were really touching them in a physical environment, like Àrmin was just talking about. So one thing is the hands. The hands are one main element in this prototype, and we really wanted to achieve this sense of phantom haptic feedback when touching the elements. So we found a simple way to do this that kind of worked quite well was a color change. So this is a screen capture from a very early test scene. The one that knows Unity and the Meta SDK can recognize that this is from example package, but we really understood that like creating these color changes triggered some kind of like a phantom sensation when you were interacting with them. Further, we used sounds to create auditory feedback, which we will hear a little bit from now, I think. Yeah. Each object is assigned a sound which is triggered when grabbing or releasing them. We also wanted to play with the unexpected and assigned each object with sounds that kind of contrast with their appearance. This means like a soft shaped object would, for instance, have a rough sound and the other way around. The shapes of the objects was as well something we thought about. As you can see, some of them is a bit more spiky, some are like bulky, smooth, and the material has also some kind of like glossiness, others doesn't. What our thoughts was behind this was we wanted to create some kind of tactile sensation when you are touching them, or not touching them in real life, of course. One main goal of this project was to create a collaborative mixed reality space where more users can participate at the same time in a shared playful experience. Making it a multiplayer experience was quite challenging, and there was like a lot of problems and limitations that we had to overcome. Since what Àrmin also referred to, the headset is still not there where it has like a very good processing power, at least not when you want to draw or render a lot of 3D content to the headsets. So one way we overcome this was that one user only sees the other user's objects when they are either holding them in their hand or has placed them onto the avatar. And this reduced the amount of content that we had to render on the glasses, while still we could maintain this shared experience. And for the interaction, we implemented different features to especially emphasize on playfulness. One feature was having the gaze of these wide eyes that you see here, following the user as they are moving through the virtual environment. Another feature is the object scaling that Àrmin was also briefly referring to, which makes it possible to adjust the size by either stretching it, squeezing it together. This we found was quite nice. It gave a feeling of control, as well as really enhancing this playful element to make objects extremely large or very, very small and petite, and easily to make small details on the avatar. And when placing these objects onto the avatar is responding to it by changing its animation, making it appear a bit more livelier and dynamic. Additionally, as you see maybe a little bit later here, you're also able to push the avatar around, rotating it, which brought us a lot of fun in the test phase. Me and Àrmin was chasing each other around with these avatars. Yeah. And since the hands are a main element of our prototype, we wanted to achieve a close to realistic and natural interaction, having the hands somehow behave similar to real physical ones, where you can pick objects up with your fingers, you can hold them in your hand, throw them from your palm, as well as collide with the objects across the entire surface of your fingers and the hand. And this we really found contributed a lot to the playfulness, making it feel much more real in some way. And as an extra feature, we wanted to give the users the option to capture and share their experience with others as a digital takeaway in form of an image, together with their cool styled avatar, and optional together with their co-creators. Yeah, this is done by having a third headset, so a third Quest headset within the scene that also does the tracking, and actually is also kind of multiplayer, but without any capability of touching or anything. And in the scene, you also see here we placed a virtual button which triggers a countdown, which tells the third headset to capture an image then we upload to our server, can be accessed and downloaded, shared afterwards by scanning this cute QR code here that you also, this is on an external screen, also part of our installations, which you will see if you go to the other room later. Yeah, and hopefully have a lot of fun with this.
Well, just to round that up, we just collected our 3 main findings of our journey together. And I think I'm speaking for all the team. So it was definitely exciting. And if you try it out, I'm really interested on how you feel in this phygital hybrid environment. And what I noticed is, like, if you put down the headset after the experience, it's really strange because you're missing half of the scenery and you're kind of sad or something. It's a very strange feeling. So I'm interested how you see this. So touching the digital, as I always wanted, is quite nice. It's a good experience, so try that out. Well, we had to also deal with some, I would call it, immature technology, which was adding really a lot of chaos, or some kind of chaos, to keep it positive, to the whole process. So there's still some way to go. And this really kind of restricted some visual and UX experiments. That's what I was a little bit sad about. But, well, it's an emerging technology. And there was kind of an unexpected plot twist to this, because at the beginning I was thinking it was all about the avatar becoming a lively kind of thing. But after, like, you do it, you decorated your avatar kind of, you're much more interested in interacting with your fellow human being in this setup. So some people started decorating the fellow human and not the avatar. So you can try it out. I think it's still some way to go. But we're looking forward that you can test it. And if you want to touch the digital yourself, you can come by and test that. So looking forward to that. And at the end, I would like the team to come up here, because we didn't do it alone, as you already saw. And so we have Àrmin and Casper, and I would also like to call David, who did all these very beautiful 3D renderings and key visuals. And also Anastasio, who's filming at the moment, who did the project management on this. And we would also like to say thank you to Cornelius, who also helped us with some substance problems or tackles that we had to solve, and some more people. And Andreas, sorry, for the sound design. Yes. And David Neu, yes, who also helped us a little bit in really hard, the coding topics. So thank you very much, and we're looking forward to seeing you over there.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot too. Stay a bit, because there might be some questions. So that was really an interesting journey, and of course, like Betty and I were discussing a lot about, because we're dealing so much with kind of digital interactions and like what we don't want to run after it like immediately after you can do it, but at the same time we want to find out what does it do to us. So are there any questions that you had in terms of the experiences or technical things?
Yeah, sure. So my question would be, could you remind us when you started the project? When you started the project, yeah.
Started that in January this year. Yes, and I think over a period of 3 months.
You come a bit closer to the microphone.
Over a period of 3 months, not every day, but quite a lot of days, we're working on that, testing out and doing things. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to come close to the microphone. Hello, super interesting and amazing project, love that. And I think I'm very interested in understanding, you talked about haptics and you mentioned that you've solved the problem by using sound for haptic, which is like actually a different trigger. Like, do you think, how can we actually implement that much more? How does it work for you, like different haptic surfaces and translate it into sound that you realize what the material is, for example?
Well, I think that the sound designer might want to answer something about that too. But I think as we have this, this is a spatial experience, and we have the topic of multisensual approach here, so we can nearly speak to all the senses we have. Well, maybe not in the digital. With tasting, it might be a little bit of a problem. So, but this is really enhancing the experience, and so that was from the beginning very important that we don't only focus on the visuals, but also have this haptics, which were supposed to be really seamless. This is something else that really makes it more intense and immersive. So I think the sound is just one fragment of that, which really keeps it up.
And I think like we started like several years ago. We did together with Mireille a project called Hyperfountain. You can find it on our website. So where we, for the first time, experienced that you see something hitting your hand, basically something virtual. But I think like 80% of the people had kind of an impression, because our like visual system, it's so deeply coded. Of course, every day, like I touch myself, I feel myself. And if I see, you know this experiment with this rubber hand, basically, someone hammering it looks like yours, so you feel an impression. And so we saw that for several times here in this project too, that we try, like by doing a sound that is pretty precise. You can try it out later, so that it might happen, but of course it's super difficult because you're not touching anything. But like trying to work with the attack, basically. And yeah, but it was interesting because like for me as sound designer, it was difficult because you grab an object, but an object normally does not really make a noise while you're grabbing it. So how does it continue? So basically we ended up just taking the trigger for the object and having a put down sound, a very, very simple system. Because if you grab a bottle, it doesn't make a sound after you touched it, and you cannot get away from that. You know? And that was kind of interesting how we try to find a way to do something with you emotionally. More questions?
But I think the skin approach would even add one more sense to it, and might be even more intense. So I think that's Andreas.
So there's one question from YouTube, from Thomas. Did you notice any phantom effects?
Yeah, maybe I can say a little bit about this. No. I think where I felt that it was working the best was definitely this combination of the tactile visual design of the objects together with the hands changing its color. I think this was a really good combination that immediately triggered some kind of haptic response in me, I would say. Thank you, Thomas.
Any more questions? Dann ein bisschen nach vorne kommen und einfach durchrufen oder wiederholen.
So, since I am involved in a group at the Max Planck Institute for Informatics that deals a lot with haptic feedback, I have to ask, did you like at any point like think about adding like using some kind of like glove or like wearable finger device to, and like instead of doing this sound feedback, just doing it directly on the hands?
Well, at the beginning, I was also researching like tools or hardware that would support that. I don't know, ultra haptics, I think it's called, and they just stopped producing it. But they came up now with some more advanced tools or hardware. And well, I wanted a seamless experience, so I didn't want any gloves or anything that's really added on the body, because I just wanted to have it as naturally as possible.
I think this is something what we very often try at Elastique, and pretty much driven by Betty, that we say like we don't want to we want to make like the technology invisible, because of course you can. Oh yeah, you can. Kannst du ein bisschen lauter machen? You can wrap yourself, of course, in a huge suit or whatever, and you're kind of a walking cyborg, etc. But this is not what we're looking for. So the question is, of course, like how the technology is improving, but at the same time trying to make kind of the technology disappear and kind of use it in an aesthetic way. Because what I think that was one of the biggest craving of you, that you say like, oh, I can't stand kind of a lot of AR and XR projects being so super ugly, partly because of the technical restrictions, but sometimes like how can you do aesthetics there, and what does it do to you? Does it add something? Because at the moment we have a bit the feel sometimes that it's a bit kind of lost to take the time to really design something that does something to you, because it's so differently.
I really like the project. Did you add the second person during work? Because I like the takeaway that it's actually more fun to play with each other instead of the electronic partner. Because maybe just to get to the end of it, the Abramovich just works because there is a second person, and I really like that. That's the whole human part about it. And did you start with one, or did you start with two people playing?
We actually started with one, so in the beginning we just wanted to make it work for one person, and the multiplayer thing was sort of on the wish list of Betty, I think. And it actually, so the single player application was so much easier than the multiplayer. We had lots of troubles with just making it work at all, like connecting the glasses and stuff like that. But it definitely paid off, I think, because as you mentioned, like doing it together, it's so much more fun to interact with people. And then actually what we figured out, the most fun part is like putting the goggles on and looking someone holding a digital object, which you haven't seen that before, or at least I haven't. And that's, yeah, so I'm very happy that Betty actually put this on her wish list and that we actually got it to work. And this was also really, we mentioned that we worked on this for like 3 months, and lots of that was actually troubleshooting and not design sometimes, because we just had to make it work, because the glasses are not really made yet for these like extensive like multiplayer experiences.
And David, for example, said several times, and Casper can sing a song from it, that Meta changed the SDK all the time, and so you were just finishing with them, then they changed the software developer kit, and then it didn't work because they're improving, but on the run. And so you had to start over again, and you lose time instead of being able to kind of push the boundaries.
Because I think that's what you wanted to get about in your work, is that how digital or analog or how touchy we want to be. And I think getting this out, that you want to play together with another person in the room, something I think that will be something we will be talking about when we've tested it. But that's really super interesting, because you go back to, I want another person and not another avatar or 5 avatars or whatever. So I really like that. It's fun. Thanks. Excuse me.
Yeah, I was wondering, is it all right? Would it have been possible, or did you consider to project the digital things onto objects? So for example, the bowl you put the eyes in, that it would have been in the digital world like a furry bowl or with hairs or something, but when you touch it, it's ceramics. So to have like this part. Yeah.
That is absolutely possible, and that was basically what the Hyperfountain project was for Dornbracht, because it was that you were touching kind of a stream of water, but you were seeing completely different like particle streams. So, and there was we took some learnings over to this project too, because when I think it was Hucki, Justus, Cornelius at that time, so like 4 or 5 years ago, basically, they started like throwing into these particle systems objects that were kind of coded. I think cigarette butts, like rotten teeth, all that stuff. So you were kind of washing spiders, you were washing your hands in spiders and something like that. And there we felt, okay, if you do abstract stuff, it's not coded with an emotion from the experience, because this is what we sometimes don't really like, just like interactive experiences where you move fast, it's blue, you move slow, it's green, because green and blue is nowhere coded in our daily life to be fast or slow. So, but with these objects, so simple they are, we found that it does something. And so we tried, for example, bringing these, or you tried bringing these different objects in, because it does something to you, because it's coded.
A really great experience, actually, and I love the concept behind everything. As our friend mentioned, the fact of interacting with not each other, like your own self, but with friends, makes it actually really, really interesting. But did ever the team like wondered how this experience can be enhanced, like with BCIs, like brain-computer interfaces, maybe, except of like VR and AR?
Can you repeat it? I don't think I got the end of it.
If the team ever wanted to exchange the experience with BCI, so brain-computer interfaces, except of just
not with me. Sorry. No, well, certainly you could do that if you want to do that, but not in my case, no. But I mean, yes, well, if you want. But I don't let anything get into my body, no.
Yeah, and the thing is, we had some research several years ago where we did these emotive, like brain reading devices, etc. And because we were like looking for, can we do kind of an interactive installation, which is kind of triggered by your brain waves. But then as soon as you're surrounded by people listening to someone, you're totally distracted, so nothing works anymore. So you have to basically, of course, your brain is always reacting to your surrounding. So I think there's a lot of stuff to do, and the question is if we want that. Yeah, in this case, of course, we had and
yes.
wanted to keep it simple too.
Well, now I get it, because yes, you can put it on your head as well, not into your head. So I did some tests with that at university, and I have to say that it's well, we didn't have the most expensive hardware there, but it was so much pain getting it to work so that the technology would be too much upfront in my eyes. So it would be more about concentrating on the technology and not about the natural haptical part.
Okay, there's a question really in the back. Perhaps you just... Can we go back? And he's
yes.
Asking about the
Yes, wait a moment.
being confronted with yourself.
Well, this wouldn't be that complex, maybe, I don't know, but at this very moment, well, it was in my research semester, so I'm back to business. I have to work again, so well, it might be something that will happen. I would really see it happen, actually.
So if you are someone or know someone who wants to do that in collaboration with the university, would be great, because that's of course like in terms of budgets too. So we had really to select which prototype do we put our coins on, because it's nice to do that, but of course you have to do it besides from the Elastique side, besides of daily work. So we could not do it. We wanted to do so many of them, you know. It's like
yes, but we have a very nice mocap system at university, so it could be something progressing. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Any more questions? No? Nochmal von YouTube.
There's another YouTube question. Yeah, Nicholas asked, could you speculate on the potential visual and tracking improvements that might result from a more advanced processor, for example, the Apple Vision Pro?
Tech question. Oh, wow.
Yes, no. One thing that Andreas also briefly touched on, that the OS is auto-updating on the glasses. We even set them to don't update at all. But somehow Meta forces this through, which of course brought us some headache. But also from each update, the tracking actually got a bit better. And also how we are scanning the space, to have a good tracking, this was also improving from each OS update. So I don't know so much about the Vision Pro, so this I cannot really talk about, but I can see that Meta is doing a lot to work on the tracking and to improve the tracking. Yeah.
And on the kind of emotional side, we think you will experience that when you have these like really physical bowls where the digital objects are in, and the better the performance is. I think Eno is going to show us a bit more like what the Vision Pro is capable to do. It's like so it's like the more seamless this impression gets, that you have a physical bowl and digital objects that become getting even more real from the visual look at least. So I think this is going to improve in terms of polygons. So much work to shrink it down to little or as little as possible the polygons. Of course, it will. Perhaps that answers the question a bit too. It will give even a closer relation. I like that you said you're missing something in the real space when you spend a bit of time in this mixed reality. Yeah. So perhaps in terms of the time, etc., we do a break. I think kind of 20 minutes. We said like a 8:15, or we can take a bit more time for the people in the stream. So 20 minutes, 25 minutes. We're going to be back. So thank you very much for being so interested. Thank you very much here for everyone participating. Yeah, and I think the team will go over in the lab, in the studio. And so there's the setup. So whoever wants can try it out, have fun, don't get lost. And yeah, let's have a little break.
bass hit your when the bass hit your face, you be like. When the bass hit your face, you be like. When the bass hit your face, you be like. hit your bass hit your when the bass hit your face, you be like. When the bass hit your face, you be like. When the bass hit your face, you be like. hit your bass hit your when the bass hit your face, you be like. When the bass hit your face, you be like. When the bass hit your face, you be like. hit your bass hit your when the bass hit your face, you be like. When the bass hit your face, you be like. When the bass hit your face, you be like.
And yeah, he's going to talk about kind of sharing contents very easily in XR, and they're doing a research project too with the Apple Vision Pro. And Eno and we collaborate for years now, and we love to exchange. And like sometimes we ring ourselves and like, how would you do that? And he's like, I could do it. Okay, let's go. And that's really, really nice. And yeah, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Andreas, and thank you very much for this invitation. It means a lot. We, like Andreas said, we work together since a long time. We know each other since a long time. I also have a connection with Betty at the Hochschule, and yeah, it's nice that these two environments and peer groups are coming together now. So what I'm going to do today is highly experimental. It is a performance, and there's a couple of different angles, viewing angles, spectator angles, ways to access closer. So? Okay. I'm used to eating the microphone. I'm always told that when you're on stage, you should basically try to gulp it down. Okay. We've never done it before. Usually, if you present yourself or your company or a project, there's a certain routine to that, and you know how to do this. This one is unrehearsed. I came here at 7:30, and I was traveling for 2.5 days, so we didn't have time to align on the content. Let's see how this unwinds. Okay. So, to give you a little background, what we are doing and why we are presenting and presenting what we are presenting and why we are working on this, there is a little backstory needed. Can you go to the next slide? So InSync is a company, agency, digital studio lab from Frankfurt, which I founded 10 years ago. And we have specialized in creating mixed reality for a variety of formats. So for stages mainly, but also for event, for experiences, and for film. And just a little look back into, I picked out 3 projects to explain what we're working on. This is one that is about the digital transformation of the heating industry for Fissmann. You see it's an augmented reality piece. It is a little stage with a moderator. And the moderator takes the audience through the story of a heater and the thermostat and the phone, and uses augmented reality to explain what the products can do, but what you don't see on the products. Like with a hammer, you see what the hammer can do, but with a phone or with a digital tool for the plumber, you can't see what it's doing. So essentially, it's bringing virtual elements onto stage and making a little theater play with these on stage. We have done a lot for the automotive industry. Porsche is one of our partners. And it's essentially the same thing. You have a product on stage and a lot of properties that you can't see with the naked eye, and you want to make a show about them and explain it to the audience, not with just a film. Why do you do this in AR? Because it is more engaging and it has a different tension to it. If you do it with a film, you can watch it again, but this is like a theater play, so anything that comes up on stage, it can fail. It is happening live, and it is there only once. So there is a certain tension in these projects, and it is like we're specialized in bringing, like, understanding how do you perceive content on a virtual. How do you create these mixed realities between virtual elements and real elements? How do they share one narrative space? And for quite some years, the camera the broadcast camera, the film camera, was the eye of the spectator for us. The mixed reality headsets weren't widespread enough. The way to tell this story was kind of through a proxy. The camera is kind of a proxy for the spectator, for the audience. You see where the camera is, you see what the camera sees, and you see a feed of the mixed reality. And now we're coming into a situation where this mixed reality finally can be experienced individually. It's coming, like the technology for it is rolled out at large. We've done it also for more like entertainment events. This is MTV Video Music Awards. So again, like a big stage that is a mix of a physical stage and virtual stage elements and props. The present audience can't see it, but the audience at home who are watching the live feed, the broadcast, they're experiencing this mixed reality at home. So what unifies these projects is essentially that these are presentations, some more corporate or content-driven, some more entertaining, but essentially a show is a situation where you go from one situation to the next. If you make a rundown, if you design a show, it's next, 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 which is essentially the principle of a keynote or of a PowerPoint. So you think we think in slides, and you have been now for the first couple of slides been looking at a spatial presentation, and now I'm trying to go into this spatial mode and continue the rest of the presentation in mixed reality. And the challenge in this situation is that I will be the only one wearing these glasses. Obviously, it would be much cooler if every one of you would be wearing these glasses. We have been doing this to an extent where we have 15 people in one room wearing these glasses, but not 70. So right now, of course, I would assume that everybody here had the experience of wearing mixed reality glasses and is somewhat aware, like familiar with the power of an immersive experience and what it can do, and in which way it is overwhelming and essentially new and has the power to bring virtual experiences close to a physical experience. So now bear with me for a second. I would go into these glasses. Now I have to sneak behind. Can you go to the split screen situation, please? Okay. So in this situation, is it there, the signal? I see a green screen. I'm not broadcasting it, okay. Sorry, this is something that the glasses don't remember, that when you want to cast the stream, that you have to set this up every time again when you put the glasses down. Is the feed there? Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. So let's see how this works. We established a mixed reality presentation space. The methodology of going from one content to the next is essentially really the idea that you prepare your content in slides and you go from one slide to another. Next, next, next. So this slide here is supposed to show that as InSync, we have put our efforts for mixed reality for film into the Hyperbole. The Hyperbole is a mixed reality, is a film studio It's an LED stage, 500 square meters of LED. It has a camera, and you build a stage, a setup into the volume, and you have a background that is rendered with Unreal, and with that you make film. And essentially what you capture is a mixed reality, right? You have a physical reality inside the studio, and then a virtual reality that's in the background, and these together make the narrative. As InSync, so this is basically our initiative for mixed reality for film, and the other projects that we had been doing for the past years were all presentations, and we didn't have a unifying format for that. We had to every project was a one-off project where we reinvented the technology stack, and it made it very expensive and not so easy to reuse. So now we've invented Hyperslides, which is essentially PowerPoint, a mixed reality PowerPoint system, if you will. You build a presentation, and the slides are not 2D anymore, but they're spatial. And you go from one slide to another, you go next, next, next. So this system we have established. Let's see. Here are my moderator notes. You are seeing what I see, but a spectator it has a different role, and he wouldn't see these notes. So actually I can read off of them, and he doesn't see that I read off of them. So I can have all of my text here, and then I go to the next slide. And we're briefly talking about a project that we've been doing with Elastique together. I think I saw it in a trailer before. It is also for the expertise of InSync, important because a lot of the mixed reality, the variety of mixed reality formats is really coming together in this one. We're doing mixed reality film, but we also bring mixed reality into a car, into a product, and it's essentially also the idea to create one content pipeline that can be played out to many different formats and use cases. And this is just a very short reminder or reinstantiation of the world that we built for the Vision D. I think everybody knows mixed reality portals from smartphone applications, but also for the presentations that we are doing, it is an essential tool to bring immersive experiences into a mixed reality situation. It's kind of half VR, half real reality. So kind of, and I mean, right now I can't step into it because we designed it in the way that we have the bookshelf here. But if you were inside of my glasses now, you would be understanding that this is, of course, it has depth. You can go inside and you can walk there and be fully immersed and then look back and be in the normal reality. So, all right. So the system, Hyperslides, has been in production already. Maybe, Johannes, you could take a moment and show close up a couple of these images or the video that we have here. These are static images. Of course, with static images, you would, in a situation like this, go back into a 2D presentation. And essentially, the system allows you to go back and forth between mixed reality and 2D presentations. So not every content makes sense in 3D, but just for the sake of the demonstration, we've done it here now with these assets. And what you can see is that this system is already in use. Here in this instance, we developed it still with Unreal for the Quest 3. This was before the Apple Vision Pro was available. And for our business, it is transforming the way these formats like journalist briefings are happening, which used to be very dry keynote or PowerPoint presentations. And now they become spatial. You can really go up close and see something. And I mean, now it's just an image, but in this presentation situation, you would understand that there's actually the full car body or the undercarriage there, and you can talk about it in detail and also see it in motion. Of course, this is just a demo, basically an asset like the car platform that you just saw. It becomes interesting when you really have kind of a spatial asset and you can explain something about it. So this is kind of a or kind of an interactive slide. You see that I can kind of scroll through the animation here of this turbine. Of course, I can experience it closely. And what you also see is that all of the other people and the other perspectives that we have in the room, they see the same state, obviously. It's important, it seems very natural, but the background behind this with the different roles is, of course, essential that you can have this shared experience. If you have an experience that is just on one glass, it's not any good. And I want to kind of explain these different roles here in this setup. So you see, I'm a moderator now. I have these moderator nodes. And I can see the other people in the room. I can see Johannes. Where's your avatar? It's gone. It's gone. But there is another one here. You see this guy? Hello. He's nodding. Yeah. Yeah. He's in Malaga right now. He's part of the Insync team, and we've done another technique workshop for our client in Malaga. They have the other 15 Apple Vision Pros there right now. They're just done with their project, and he downloaded the presentation, and he's now in the hotel and seeing the same thing that you're seeing right now. So the purple guy is a moderator. This is a spectator. She can have virtual reality, like mixed reality headsets or a tablet. And of course, you can have also remote and virtual participants. So people that see the same scene just remotely, and they have to establish the same presentation space. So right now, the calibration setup, we put down these QR codes just to give the space and orientation. We have different ways of doing that. If you're just doing a spontaneous session and you're just by yourself, you can just kind of spawn the presentation in the space where you are and then join. And I don't know, is he a moderator now as well? Is he? I don't see his finger. But he should be able to manipulate this scene from Malaga. I don't know, we didn't establish the audio link yet. It was existing on the Quest, but the Apple Vision Pro solution we developed in only 8 weeks. So we had it all running on the Quest 3, and then we said, okay, we don't want to hear anybody asking, hey, can you do it on the Apple Vision Pro too? So we had to make the move, obviously. So it's there, it's deployed in production, but it's still lacking a couple of features. Yeah, so this is the back end. These frames are essentially only there to show that, to make you aware that there is this cloud part to it, where you have users and roles, where you can create a session, where you can have your slide notes, and if you prepare a presentation, also like this one, or with a client, it's important that the system is somehow accessible to traditional production pipelines or routes. You have people who don't have a mixed reality headset at hand, or who just want to go through their notes or the presentation or make adjustments. So this is all happening in the back end in a cloud service. You can change your notes, your comments. You can change the order of slides, and what we're missing right now is the ability to upload assets and place them in the scene. But this is something to come, that we have basically a database for the assets, and then you can stream them from the web into your presentation. Yeah. I think this was the moment for the high five situation. Alex, can you manipulate the guy? I don't know. Is he a moderator? You made him moderator. Maybe the role hasn't been updated. Okay, he has to rejoin. He can't do it. Okay, but anyways, the thing is, you can manipulate the scene from no matter where you are. And if we had hand gestures, we had them in the Quest 3, but right in the Apple Pro, they're not there. This would have been our virtual high five situation. Which is actually really nice. It makes a difference. Like the first time we experienced that you're meeting someone in mixed reality is so... It's as if you meet a person. You forget that this is in mixed reality. If you meet a person there and you're able to exchange gestures, look at the same scene in parallel, it really creates a virtual... now he can update it. Okay. And yeah, he's dancing with a guy. Yeah. Yeah, and you see it here on every stage. So it's happening in the virtual stage and in every space, obviously, in the same way. Yeah, I think this was the demo, the amount of slides that I had. The time for me to take off the glasses again, but then to talk about what can you do with it. And I think it's like keynote. It should be market agnostic. Kind of. I think you can apply it to many industries or many use cases. The idea is to really make a tool that makes it easy to drop in your 3D content and to use the power of these immersive tools to convince your audience, if you will, like as a brand or as a team or whatever. There was it.
Thank you so much, Eno, and the team. Yeah, it's amazing. I always consider Eno kind of the Pope of AR, because we know each other, I think since 2007 or 2009 or something like that. He's always kind of in this mixed space very, very early, and it's really nice to exchange and to learn from each other. So how to interact, etc. And yeah, are there any questions, kind of to processes, to principles, etc.?
Some live stream question again. Is the Hyperslides system going to be cross-platform and accessible with every VR headset device?
I mean, now we moved from Unreal to Unity, and that makes it a bit wider accessible. So we could deploy the same to the Quest 3 now. There's a couple of platform particular solutions. In general, the market is moving so fast, and we're such a small development team that it's not so easy to keep up with the pace. I can see that the move to Apple Vision Pro, the quality is so much higher, and it's so much better. Once you've seen that, you don't want to go back. So kind of like right now, we are really waiting for the rest of the market to catch up, in a sense. But yeah, of course, like the more democratic you get, the lower the quality gets. And right now, like the adoption of the technology at large really depends on the quality of the experience and the quality of what you see. And it doesn't make sense to deploy it for Quest 2 or Quest 1, for example. I don't see the point. So it's more forward-looking than downwards compatibility, I would say.
More questions? Questions? Oh, there. Yeah. What do you think? How long does it take that artificial intelligence avatar is taking the role of the moderator? So just repeat it for the people in the stream.
Yeah.
So the question was like, how long does it take that an artificial intelligence avatar takes over kind of the role of the moderator?
We've done experiments with that already, like text to speech and like the way you can talk to ChatGPT, for example, with the API that's there, the voice generation, and to have somewhat of a synchronized facial expression is not so hard. It's not so far away. So I think for like a kiosk situation where you want to have I think it's possible. I'm not sure if for this use case of PowerPoint and Keynote it's so relevant, but because kind of it is about presenting something in person. If that wasn't necessary, you could as well just make a video or a website maybe. Yeah, like should be doable.
It's pretty much kind of the, I think the similar thing that Betty experienced, basically, that as soon as you see a representative, like when we were seeing the colleague moving with the headset, we know that there's a real human behind, and that makes it kind of appealing for us. If we know that it would have been moved by an artificial intelligence and you know it, if you don't know it, okay, you could be fooled, but I think the main problem is we saw that I saw recently kind of a short clip, whatever, that contained AI-generated people saying something and real people being interviewed. And immediately, if you see one and you see that you're fooled, you assume the rest is fooled too. So you get totally disturbed. And so I think it's the same with the presence. If you have kind of a mixed up, you don't believe anyone anymore, and then it's not for us. We are humans. We want to meet humans or interact with humans a lot. Es gab noch eine Frage, ne?
How is it, the glasses would normally have a body? Is that the normal case? Or do you just see glasses as the...
You mean the representation?
Yes, exactly.
This was the simplest representation that we could just reproduce. It's basically just the head pose. But there is other avatars that are avatar systems possible that scan your leg position and arm position and kind of make an inverse kinematics and give you an actual body pose. Yeah. We haven't implemented that yet, but I think it's really something that you would want to have. But on the other hand, the system is built for a no onboarding situation. Like a lot of the systems, the use cases for mixed reality are also, and Apple is really targeting that a lot with your face scan and as a personal device that you inhabit, like you inhabit your computer. But the keynote situation is you have one person who knows, who has the preparation, and you have another situation where somebody comes along and he has to be able to just put on the glasses and see. It's a lean back situation, kind of the transfer of the information is absolutely one way, except for maybe a Q&A afterwards. But a lot of and this is also the reason why we started developing something ourselves. A lot of the tools that you see are about collaboration. Like, how do you meet there? How do you manipulate information? Do you do brainstorm sessions? How do you and then you configure your own avatar. Like you come along with your own persona. And this is like this telepresence or remote presence, it's interesting, but the system, like from where we come from, it is about getting content in a fast and easy way, and like more talk about the what you see, what you come together for, rather than how you come.
Okay, so it's because I thought the remote. Am I off? I'm on. The remote thing was interesting because you didn't see the Betty's team performance or presentation.
Yeah, I missed
and
it.
I thought of how would it be if you would stand on top of each other. So
Yeah.
do you feel that you're mingling bodily with somebody else in Panama, or do the glasses say you're on top of the other guy, or?
I mean, it's even with virtual content, you always walk around.
But this guy, he could walk into you.
Yeah,
and you would be one.
We could intersect, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
do the glasses interfere? Do they
no.
say?
No.
No. Okay.
I mean, if his avatar geometry comes in front of me, it would probably block my view.
Okay.
But
okay. Yeah.
But apart from that, there's no physical feedback. Yanni, you had a question. I can repeat it if you say it.
Where do you see your compliance? Do you think your system is more for people who are outside the world spread it, or is it more, could it be like also like a big hall where you have like 10,000 of people sitting there and have very big classes? Where are all the limits?
Yeah, the question was about use scenarios, like how big are the groups and how is the presentation scenario. It's the presentation situation is more relevant than when you just design a keynote. Like you can make a PowerPoint and you can present it in a meeting room or on a huge stage. And here, as we learn it, I mean, we put this presentation together in 3 days. We think about where's the screen, where do I look, what do I see through the glasses, what do you see, how can you follow me, where is the portal, how are all of these viewing angles oriented. And if the presentation situation is clear, and I don't see, and everybody has a device, I don't see a problem doing it for 10,000 people. I recall that Wagner Festspiele in Bayreuth, they had an opera, Parsifal, where they had AR glasses for 400 people who were sitting in the front rows of the balconies, and they basically expanded the stage design into the auditorium. So this is kind of a situation like that, where it's for many people. The question is, how is that portable? Like if you now had a person participating in the same performance, in the same opera at home, how do you make it transportable? And this is something that we are also considering, is like you spawn the presentation. Right now the presentation has the same size no matter where you join it. But you want to configure it to your presentation situation. Maybe you need a miniature version of it, just to make it compatible with your room size, or to design it. Maybe you don't have that huge space, but you you want to, like you zoom in and out on a Miro board, if you will. But the content is there, but we're designing different viewing angles and accesses to it.
Yeah, so we did once a AR-supported factory tour, which people could join. You had a kind of a moderator, and from 2 to 20 people joining, or 30 or something like that. And so we found like the space, when you have it like all in the same place, you can have always this analogy of a fireplace, basically. So if you have too many people would overlap, and then you lose kind of the illusion of the augmented reality, because kind of the digital objects lie in front of people, even if the object occlusion basically works better and better, so that a digital asset looks like it's behind another person, basically. But that kind of defined the space when you're surrounded. So you need the space to position AR. It's like you cannot stand close to each other, and because that doesn't really make sense. But what I like with the telepresence stuff is that then, of course, you can break up spaces.
And this was the experience with the tech workshops. If you have 15 people in a room, it blocks their mobility. They're kind of stuck. They don't want to walk in somebody else's way. And then you have to, like, there is a situation when you have few people in the room, they start exploring and roaming around. But if you have too many, you have to do this for them. You have to turn the asset. You have to turn the world. You have to bring the animation in. And that is, there's a couple of breakpoints, and they're like really depending on room size, audience density.
But a lot of stuff is that you just act in a way that you do it like you would do it with real objects. So that's basically, of course, you can scale stuff, but you can really use it in a similar way. Are there more questions?
So I was wondering, do you plan to develop a product, make a product out of it, and when can I buy it?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of our first public appearance with this. We built it as we started the presentation to make our business case more accessible and like to bring it out in a larger scale and reduce the threshold for an initial investment in technology. But like the midterm, long-term trajectory is to offer it as a product or as a platform. We have to see how it goes, because it's a whole different. Like right now, it is a framework. So it's a set of. Right now, it lives in Unity. Before it lived in Unreal, and it has this web part. And if you're a developer, then you know how to use it, then it's pretty straightforward. But if you wanted to really bring this out as a product where you're able to upload your assets and do everything online, and you have this whole user flow, it's a completely different ball game, and we're not there yet. But yeah.
Venture capitalists say hi to Eno. More questions? No. So thank you very, very much for this amazing presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, so this was kind of the informational part of the evening. Now we can come to the informal part, like go around. We have tell me your name, Thomas. Thomas, come up front. He had kind of a fun announcement. We just met because he has a very nice event prepared coming up soon.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andreas, for the opportunity. And I'm just rolling some ads, you could say. I might have a solution for the problem of missing investments, because I'm organizing an event I want to invite you all to. First, I'm Thomas. I'm a journalist from Cologne, tech journalist. And I'm hosting something you might have heard about, is called spatial computing. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. Spatial Realities, which is the name of a podcast, but also the name of a meetup, which takes place 4 times a year. And you are all very much welcome to join me there, to join us there. About 100 people join us there every 3 months or so. And we are also having a hackathon right before the Gamescom, and this is what I'm so excited about to tell you, because it is sponsored by Meta with $100,000, so you can win that if you join it. And we will have a lot of VCs there, where you can actually grab some money, not only win with such projects, for example, which are excellent for that hackathon, for example, but also talk to VCs and say, okay, do you want to give me some money to actually make that project very successful? And this is not everything, because if you're one of the winners, there are different categories, if you're one of the winners of the hackathon, you even have the chance to get displayed at the Connect this year, which is the developer conference of Meta, something like the Apple keynote. And that's, of course, a great opportunity, because then your product gets a lot of attention, and that's great for marketing. So when will it take place? 18th, 19th, and 20th of August. That's one day before Gamescom. On the 20th, there will be a big party at Startplatz here in Cologne in Mediapark, where you're all invited. And you should join this anyway, to grab some beers, to try out some experiences. We will have all the experiences developed in the hackathon will be there to try out and try on. That's cool. And of course, meet a lot of XR people who are professionals in that space. So If you want to join that, just visit the website xrhack.com. xrhack.com. Win $100,000. And fun thing about that, if you come from Cologne, there will be a special prize, so you can win an additional $10,000. Okay, all right, so xrhack.com. Please add me on LinkedIn if you like. My name is Thomas Riedel. You can ask me anytime, so thank you very much, Andreas, for promoting this.
Thank you so much. Okay, thanks so much. Enjoy the evening, and we see you. I think we do a next one shortly before the DMX or something like that meetup. So hope to see you there. But the evening's hopefully long. So enjoy. Thank you.